How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing with the final Grand Prix of the Season 7 F1 2020 My Team series on the channel. So last time out, I think I said we were heading into Abu Dhabi. I was completely wrong. We are heading into Mexico, a track we have not been to for some time. This is going to be the season finisher. If you guys haven't seen the previous video, first of all, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you are new. And from last episode, this is how things look. We are currently second in the driver standings and third in the constructor standings. Second by 3 points. Carlos Sainz on 99, we are on 96. And as a team in the constructor standings, we are literally 9 points away from Racing Point, who are currently in the lead. So it has all come down to the final day of the season. I hope my recording software is recording this nicely, so we are praying for a good Grand Prix and a good video. So please be sure to leave a like to show your support, and I'll see you guys afterwards for qualifying. Welcome to qualifying at the final Grand Prix of Season 7, the Mexican Grand Prix. So let's take a look at our setup. The recording is working, so I'm hoping that it continues to work well for the remainder of the video. So this is the new setup that we have here. 2.8 wings, 50%, 53% on the adjustment on off throttle. Suspension geometry, this is the OP setup usually. The full in the front camber and nothing in the rear camber. Front toe and rear toe should be nothing as well. Suspension is 110, and then anti-roll bar is 19, and then ride height is equal on 3.3. Brake pressure is 150 like the usual, and no tire pressure or minimal tire pressure to keep them from overheating. This is Jarno Opmeer's setup that I'm using, and it is quite fast, so I'm gonna speed up time. We set the fastest lap during practice, so I'm hoping to keep that up in this session as well. So let's see where we place. Yay, audio problems. What less would you expect from our channel, right? Well, anyway, here is qualifying. First run of qualifying sees us get the fastest lap with a 1:11.0, I think, and then we try again in the second lap, of course. We always want to do an extra lap just to see if we can improve on it, but it usually turns out that our first lap was the best. We don't improve in lap 2, but we are P2 right behind Pierre Gasly. It is quite a tight run in the front, 1/10 away from Gasly's time. Magnussen, Matsushita, Latifi, De Vries, Schumacher, and Lando Norris get knocked out from Q1. So we're heading on into Q2. Another stunning lap from the get-go. Could have improved on it a little, but lap 2 is not good enough. We said P3. Don't know if that meant much, but we get pushed down to P4, so I just did like 1 or 2 laps and then let it go. Knocked out of Q2 are Jack Aitken, Ocon, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Ricciardo, and Tatiana herself. So Tatiana starts P11, but we will not be satisfied with anything less than pole, so we try to jump for pole again, and yes, we do get pole position 1:11.4 on this lap. We get a 1:11.3 in reality. I don't know why that's a little different, but Pierre Gasly rounds out the front row with us, Charles Leclerc and Sainz in row 2. So it's going to be an exciting race from pole position.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6 mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. And so, for one final time this season, Anthony Davidson joins me in the commentary box.
Well, the winter break is looming once again. No doubt many of those teams already have their eyes firmly on next season. But there's still work to be done here, still championship positions to decide, which can make a big difference to the prize money, so no one's going to be taking their foot off the throttle just yet.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. The captain lines up on pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Daniel Kvyat, and Verstappen, Albon, Bottas, Russell, and Lewis Hamilton, Calderon, Ricciardo, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Stroll, Ocon, Aitken, Lando Norris, and Mick Schumacher, De Vries, Latifi, Matsushita, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So it is race time in Mexico. We need to do a two-stop strategy. Seems to be the best. We are messing around with the strategy a little, but we opt for the soft, medium, soft setup. We are also dropping the fuel by -2 laps or so because our car is fuel efficient. I mean, fuel efficient by very fuel efficient. That's what I'm trying to say here. And we're getting ready to go. Soft to medium, soft strategy. 5 red lights for the final time, and off we go. Lean and overtake engaged at the start, and then we bump up to Rich. Gasly is behind us, but he is scheming something. Goes very tight to the inside line. Don't know what's happening, and out of nowhere tries to overtake us with a dive bomb, but we defend well. We have a slight collision with Gasly, but that is a-okay because Gasly actually hit us. I don't know what the FIA are thinking. He just drove into us before turn 1, but we still hold the lead, which is very important. Getting through these chicane turns, tight turns, then going through this, what seems to be a square hairpin. Don't know what it's called actually, but made it through there. Getting a little distance between ourselves and Gasly, Leclerc, Sainz, and Kvyat. Really extending the track limits to their maximum today as well. Trying to make sure we have a good distance to the cars behind, as well as staying competitive against the AI drivers, who are of course broken and are quite fast sometimes. But so far so good. First lap was nicely taken, pretty safe. As I say that, of course, we lose the back end there for a moment. But it is no big deal because we maintain control and we cross the line with a 1:18.6. Of course, being the first car across the line on lap 1 means we get the fastest lap, but can we improve on it in the second lap? That is most important. It is quite tight up there with the race for the drivers standing and the World Constructors Championship, so today's result really does impact where we sit for the end of the season. So I'm really trying to push here. 1.4 second to Gasly. We set a purple sector 1 again, so it does look promising to be another fastest lap here in lap 2. Another nice take of the hairpin and chicanes. One thing I did notice was that the car is quite stable sometimes, especially on the turns. So it really helped me try to mount the curves as much as possible in some places, because that really shaves off seconds, even I think tenths or even a whole second to the cars behind. As you see, Gasly is kind of catching us a little bit. 1.2, 1.3 delta to Gasly. Leclerc is also in the mist, so I'm hoping that Leclerc really pushes on Gasly to really disturb him. Sainz is behind them, and I have to be careful of Sainz. Another fastest lap, 1:15.9. It's quite quick, so I'm quite happy with that pace. 7 or so laps later, we adjusted our strategy a little. Jeff actually told us to come in during lap 10 or something, and then Jack Aitken does not finish. He stops in the middle of the road and he triggers a VSC. So we take this easy, no big problems during the VSC, and we are still 2.5, 1.8 seconds ahead of Sainz, who overtook a bunch of them, mainly because I think Leclerc and Gasly went into the pits. But here we are in lap 10. We are told to box, so we box for new softs actually, because originally we were planning on going into new mediums, but we jump into the pits for a new set of softs to get the soft stint out of the way. I think it was a good strategy call. We'll see. 2.2 seconds from the pit crew. Nicely done. Leclerc and Gasly are the two drivers which really facing, so we're hoping to get ahead of Leclerc, and as you will see in the mini-map, we get released from the pit lane just ahead of the huge traffic jam that is led by De Vries right now. So we only have to navigate around one car, and we easily do that a couple turns later as we go on the inside, and De Vries is behind us. Thank you and goodbye. And off we go in the lead of the rest of the pack, so to say. A couple more people in the pits. Tatiana's coming in as well. Stroll and Ricciardo are just ahead of us. Ricciardo, of course, with the fastest lap, having the purple highlight around his name. But I was worried there for a moment, wondering if they would pit or not, because Jeff said they only had a one-stop strategy, and as we were catching them, they pit. So we retained the lead of the Grand Prix with the fastest lap again, 114 point something. I didn't read that correctly, but we are in the lead. We lose the fastest lap a couple laps later to Max Verstappen in his Mercedes. We have two Mercedes cars in third and fourth, and it is kind of getting on my nerves because I think Mercedes could easily get some valuable points and bump up the order in the constructors, but if my memory serves correct, I don't think they were in a real position to threaten us. I think it was Racing Point and McLaren and ourselves who were very much in the fight. So far so good. Sainz in second is a bit of a worry again. I think that was more of a threat than the Mercedes boys. Sainz could also potentially clinch the driver's standing with fastest lap and second. So we had to be cautious of that. So I wanted Max Verstappen to overtake Sainz. Lap 21, and I think we are waiting for our pit stop on lap 23 for the mediums for the rest of the Grand Prix. Sainz pulls the trigger first and pits alongside Bottas. Leclerc, Verstappen, Kvyat are behind us. Really mixing things up right now. We do want Sainz to be caught out in traffic a little, hoping that he loses time. Lap 23, and here we go into the pit lane. Hoping for a good pit stop. We would be moving on to mediums. We do hold a solid pit stop delta to Stroll and Ricciardo, and interestingly, Stroll and Ricciardo moved on to the hard compound tire. Why they would do that, I don't know. I'm sure that all the cars on the grid have ultimate tire wear upgrades, but they opted for the hard. So I don't know. I think it's their loss. So I'm really worried that Sainz and Verstappen are going to overtake them in a couple laps time and really threaten my position with the points. I mean, I don't think they'll ever get close to overtaking us, but as I speak, there we go. Verstappen has pulled the trigger first, overtaking Stroll. Sainz does as well. Sainz and Verstappen fighting it out for that third place position, and I don't know, it seems like Verstappen might be holding that position against Sainz, but then immediately Sainz takes it again. It is quite a fight going on between Verstappen and Sainz, and then Verstappen eventually comes out on top to secure P3 for the moment. And then now, if you guys take a look at the delta, Verstappen is quite close to Ricciardo. Perhaps Verstappen will overtake Ricciardo for P2, which I do hope is the case, because then Sainz would get P3 at the most, which would give me a good buffer of points. And as I speak again, there goes Max Verstappen and overtaking Ricciardo. Ricciardo on the hard compound tires, by the way, so 100% he's going to lose out to medium compound tire runner Max Verstappen, and probably even Sainz. And we are just driving ahead. There's no real worry for us because we are just enjoying our drive out in front. Ricciardo again under threat from Sainz this time. The delta is literally tenths of seconds, and there we go. Sainz overtakes Ricciardo. So the front three are, I think, set. Myself, Verstappen, and Sainz are on the podium, but who takes P2 is of interest for me because I want Verstappen to hold that. And You know what? Nothing really happened. The race is over. 36 of 36, and we take P1.
Fantastic drive, and it means your driver's world champion. What a result. Enjoy it.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Victory today then, but bittersweet emotions I'm sure, as the championship slips through their fingers. Even so, what a fantastic final race of the season this was. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And there we go. We celebrate with the team for the win of the driver's standing. Yeah, it was way too tight. I shouldn't have left it to the final day of the season. As you can see, Maddie, WTF1 there is celebrating with us. Matt Gallagher, of course. But yeah, P1. We were quite competitive to Max Verstappen, by the way. His fastest lap time was a 1:14.2, and we were on 1:14.26. So we were 200th. 1:14.242 for Max Verstappen, 1:14.426 for us. Yeah, so yeah, we were very close to Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz rounding out the podium. Bottas, Kvyat, Albon, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Hamilton, and Russell rounding out the points. Tatiana misses out on the single point by placing 11th, and there's the rest of the grid. Driver standing is ours, but the most important question, of course, is the constructor standings ours for the taking. I mean, it was quite close with Carlos Sainz 7 points behind, but yes, we do complete the double. Again, driver standing and constructor standing. McLaren were just behind us by 5 points, and you can tell why I was quite nervous about Carlos Sainz's position, because I don't think it would have mattered if he got second, but if he had fastest lap, it would put a lot of pressure on us. 5 point gap is quite small. It is the tightest of margins, but yeah, I'm glad that we came out on top to win the constructor's standing. Yeah, Tatiana did pretty well, placing P19 on the driver's standing with 22 points. But is she really the teammate that we want? You have to wait to find out in Season 8. Before I end the video, for the end of the season, we have a driver retirement. Of course, Red Bull Racing's Daniel Ricciardo has announced his retirement and has left the sport. Sad to see the Australian legend go. But yeah, he didn't win any drivers' championships when we were around. So, bit of a shame. I wanted to sign him for this next season, but sadly he has decided to leave due to age, I guess. I mean, he retires earlier than Hamilton, so that's quite interesting. Anyway, that is that. We have already set up a new teammate. That you'll have to wait until the next episode, because yes, Season 8 is coming. I'm gonna do the press interview here, and I don't know. I think that is it. So you know what? I may as well just end the episode here. We are going to make adjustments to our chassis, maybe a new livery. Our teammate is new as well, and I think we're gonna make some adjustments for Season 8. Yes, Season 8 is coming, so please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe using the red button down below so you're notified when the next video goes live on my channel, and hit the notification bell as well so you're immediately notified. As always, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, and I hope you guys are enjoying F1 2020 as much as I am. F1 2021 is around the corner, so please be sure to be subscribed, because I'll be playing that as well as soon as it drops. Thank you again, and I hope you guys take care of each other and yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time.
So what, you just use me.